my second screencast, I'm gonna work on this object, PGC41667. In order to see the object, I can use HyperLIDA to see the optical image of the galaxy. Basically, it's totally dark. I don't see any galaxy here. Or it takes a while to show me the galaxy, but basically I put that indicator in front of W1 and open up the DS9. Alright, I can see the galaxy, which is super faint, and if I change the scale to Z scale, I can see that galaxy resides here. And to see it better, I can open up the contour and overplot them on this galaxy. And since it's noisy, I can just increase the smoothness level and decrease the number of contour levels. Each time you change these bars, you need to press generate, and it generates all the levels here, and then you apply them. I'm gonna play a little bit with these two parameters until I'm satisfied. I'm trying to remove these annulus here. So to do that, you go to the edit and select region, and then when you click inside that region would be selected. Then you delete them by pressing the delete button on your keyboard, and you delete them. And then this is the main aperture of the galaxy. This galaxy looks pretty much round to me, but if you wanna just change the aperture, you just click on one of these corners and you drag it until you change the shape. And even if you wanna rotate this aperture, you press your shift button on your keyboard, you hold it, and then you drag one of these corners to rotate the aperture. Once you are satisfied with the aperture, anytime you are modifying the aperture in DS9, you need to import it to GLGA. Otherwise, it doesn't understand that you have added any change to this aperture. So I import it. It shows up here, and probably I need to increase the size a little bit. And then if you want to see the modified change here, the way that you transfer this information from this window to this window, DS9 window, you have to export it, and it shows up here. I'm gonna turn off the contours, and I'm gonna clear the centroids on DS9. These are the objects that we observe here, and there are many point sources. If you are gonna find more of them, you have to increase this sensitivity. It finds a few of these, but if you wanna capture or mask any particular region, you can use DS9 to define new regions. You just click here, you hold your mouse button down, and you drag it to increase the size of the region. Once you added a couple of these mask regions, you can click on this button that says reg, and they would be automatically added to the GLGA. Again, each time you make any change in DS9, you have to use one of these buttons within this set of controllers to apply the changes into the GLGA window. And basically, I think we can run it right now to see what kind of photometry it gives us. It's not that bad. The background level still needs some modification, and probably we need to increase the size of the aperture. And if you want to look at the W2, W2 is pretty much the same as W1, and probably W3 doesn't have much signal. If I press on W3 here and use DS9, basically it opens up the W3 image. If you look at the W3 image, we don't see anything, so that makes sense. So I am not gonna bother with W3, and I'm gonna increase the level of the size of the aperture a little bit to have a better estimation of the background, because the annulus would be bigger. And also I'm gonna modify the background level at the radius of 1.5 arc minute. Therefore I go to the background menu here, I press modify back, I'm gonna enter 1.5 in my terminal. I'm gonna enter that value has been modified. It means that next time that I run the pipeline, it modifies the background using the slope that it observes at the radius of 1.5 arc minute. I'm gonna press run. It warns me that the background radius is not 0. It's gonna do some modification. So basically it did the modification, but apparently it over subtracted the background level. So at this point I'm gonna reset background, go to the background menu, reset background, and anytime you make any change, you can just open up, keep your terminal open in one of these screens, and you can see what kind of information it displays. And then I'm gonna run the photometry again. It comes back with the photometry results. Basically we need to modify the background, or probably we need to mask out more of these point sources. I'm gonna go to W1, I'm gonna open the DS9 basically because I don't see anything here. DS9 the only place that I can show the actual data that I'm working on. I'm gonna go to Z-scale. Basically this red region is the region where the galaxy, or the region that I have chosen for photometry. This is the annulus, and we need to add more centroids to be masked out. So I just add more. I clear all of these regions. In DS9 I display centroids. Basically the centroids that it displays here are those centroids that previously we found. If we run photometry right now, now it has the new centroids. The result is still the same. I can open up DS9 here because I ran the photometry with new centroids. I'm able to show this centroid, display this centroids on DS9. So I clear regions and then I click on the centroid and I see all of these centroids. And the reason that I see this increasing flux here is because I have these point sources. I have two options. I can either modify the background again, or I can add more centroids to the game. It doesn't add anything more. If you wanna edit the parameters that are being used to find these centroids, you click on find stars. You click on a star here. This simply edits the parameter in the terminal. It lets you to edit the parameters in the terminal. So the sigma multiplier for threshold is 4.6. The default, I can lower it, and magnitude faint limit is 21. I can just change it to 20 and I can run. Apparently it found more centroids. Alright, so I can run it. Again, it's increasing. I'm gonna use my second option, which is modifying the background. So I'm gonna use 1.5 again. A little bit better than before, but basically the only thing that we can do here is to modify the back radius. I'm gonna use 1.4 to see whether that gives me better results. .6. At this point, I'm happy with the photometry of W1, but I'm not happy with the photometry of W2. W2 is still okay, knowing the fact that this object is very faint. I'm gonna click on quit next because I'm done with this object. It's finished. And low signal is faint. It's a little bit crowded. It's not crowded, but it's faint. And W2 has a problem. And other W2 growth curve gradient. Alright, so I'm done with that object. In my next screencast, I'm gonna talk a little bit about different controllers, and basically I'm gonna talk about this control panel here and how this program work. And then I think that would be my last screencast, and for that one I'm gonna use one of the better images, because these images, some of them are really faint, and I'm unable to show all of these functions using those galaxies.